Hi guys! Today I want to really brush the two major components of geopolitics, which are population and geography. And today we start from population. So it's really important to understand that nations are made of humans. There's nothing else. Zero. Just humans. So the problem is that in many cases, when we look at a nation, we pretend it to be educated, sophisticated, rich, without debt, philanthropic, kind, and the list goes on. But are you like that? I'm not. So since nations are made of humans, they act like humans, with pros and cons. So when you want to really understand the major trajectory of a population, you should always have a look at who is more authentic. And who is more authentic? The lower classes. So less educated, with very few contacts with foreigners, because they are, like untouched. They represent what the average guy without any influence from the outside thinks. And this guy makes the trajectory within everybody else, of course, the majority of that community. Let's go for a couple of examples. You might think of Russia and decide to start your journey in Moscow or in Saint Petersburg. Wrong. They don't represent Russia. They just represent something that is, the European peak of it. But the nation is something else. It's outside those centers. The same applies to US, of course. You cannot have a look at New York or California and pretend to be representative of the states. In fact, United States, are really represented by the Midwest. So the Germanic or the population which has Germanic roots is still today the most important one. And this leads us to another very important concept. Politicians are produced by a population. They just, they are not expert in anything than feeling. They can just, feel what's going on in the air and catch it, ride it like a wave. Trump, great politician. In fact, he was a newyorkese billionaire who could really understand the instances of the middle class in the Midwest. But by the way, there is no chance for Trump to just, not even considering stepping by in those parts of America. If his car would just break down, he would then call an helicopter to pick him up. But he was a great politician. And then another thing, since politicians are just representative of the population, when we look at history, the typical history book tends to go from one very important person to the other. So we had nothing, then Napoleon, then he was defeated, nothing, boom, let's go for the next one, and life goes on. And what about the population? So it looks like they have never really existed. Wrong. Populations have always a say, even in the worst dictatorship. Let's go for a couple of examples. China, CCP, massive surveillance system. They use it to understand when the pressure is becoming too high, and they relax the rules, like for example now during the COVID situation, to not have the pot exploding. Or another example, this is a tricky one, I know, but we have to say it. Hitler, during the before World War II, he was, capable of representing the majority. He had consensus. That's the thing. He had consensus. Of course, I'm not saying that he was a great guy. Nothing about that. And I don't want to live in a dictatorship, for sure. But we have to consider that population have a say. Population identify the representatives, and even in dictatorships, leadership tend to be changed. Not through normal elections. Probably you're gonna disappear, you, the leader, or if you're lucky, you're just gonna put in a very fancy house in the countryside. So to recap, population is important to be considered because geopolitics is about studying populations within a confined area. So population and geography. Nations are made of people. People are bad and good at the very same time, so we cannot pretend nations to be different than us. Politicians are just good at understanding what's going on and representing those instances, and people have always a say. Yes, you might, alter it, you might decide what they're gonna expose or not, but in principle, there's no way to keep a population under if the population is against the leader. So tomorrow or in the next video, we're gonna have a look at geography as part of the two basic ingredients of geopolitics. And as usual, thanks for watching. Very appreciated that you have come so far, and I wish you a great time ahead. Cheers, bye.